Okay, dokie, I'm live yet again. Okay, there we go. So, I actually I had a question from somebody from a video a long time ago, and they wanted to know how to actually, with with practical means at that, be able to know some ways of actually to start the process of actually developing and even enhancing, empowering, and strengthening the pretty much the psychic ability, intuitive ability, spiritual ability, and the what's termed the third eye, or the this some people would even call it like the sixth sense, but it's essentially you're seeing without your eyes, as Nick's put it to me in that regard. So, in all actuality, the first thing when developing any skill for that matter, not just psychic abilities or any kind of supernatural ability or enhancing the intuitive or anything of the sorts, this first thing can actually be applied to like literally anything of the 3D world, like a skill like playing sport, skill with like handling a martial arts weapon, skill of being able to craft with the hands, all that. This first thing is like the core foundation to it all. Get this out of my life. First thing that you have to have as your foundation is the confidence and to best put it, having full 100% assurance and trusting of this that you can use it, you can do it, this skill you're able to do. Hello, Kayla. And you're not really going to be in a position where you're not going to be able to not use it, if that makes sense. So, like, say, if you're somebody who says, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm never going to be able to do that. I don't have this skill." Well, it doesn't matter like what I say later on in the stream. You're not going to be able to do it because you have that thing saying, "Oh, no, 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 you can't do that." And you until you get over that viewpoint and that perspective of like, "Oh, I can't do it." As soon as you get that out of the way, you'll be surprised at how quick it comes. And usually it's the mind that gets in the way and says, well, that doesn't make any sense. Logically, why would you want to do that? That's illogical. Best way to get around it for my suggestion is to actually literally bamboozle the mind and use logic against it. For an example, how do you know it's going to work? Well, how do you know it's going to work? Have you ever done it before? No. Good. So let's see. Kind of like using a logic game against your own mind to kind of silence it. And you have to be able to like put it to yourself in a way that actually makes your own mind not question it. And another one saying that, well, seems like make believe. But how is it make believe if we haven't even done it in the first place? It's still opening that possibility. But once you get over that, then these suggested techniques and all that will have a much more higher success in actually enhancing and bettering it. So I have quite a selection of suggested ways of going about it. The first one, probably, if not the most simple, is that's a tough one because all these are actually simple. I'll just go with the stones first. So, if you want to actually start doing this with crystal work, like general crystal work, of course, the number one crystal that I would suggest for anybody to use for actually enhancing and developing these abilities, of course, if you've been here for a while and if I've talked about crystals before and you've heard me talk about them, hopefully you know which crystal is going to be the biggest one that I'm going to suggest people. master quartz, clear quartz. But why? What's so special about this? It's like the most common mineral in the common crystal. Why is the most common crystal your number one pick for everything? Simple. Number one, it can do whatever you want it to do, no matter what it is. But of course, be realistic here. Don't tell it, I want you to give me a hot date tonight. Come on, be reasonable here with it. Don't be too extravagant, but still. The thing with clear quartz is that whatever intention you give it, all it knows how to do is respond with, yes, I'll do that. Or if you don't give it an intention, whatever crystal is around, it'll enhance it and amplify it. So, depending on, just get this finger off. There we go. Depending on like what intention you put in here, will actually, of course, distinguish what the clear quartz is going to do. But specifically, like say, I want this clear quartz to actually enhance my psychic ability, the third eye ability, or the intuitive ability, or anything of the sorts. What you would do first, of course, is to cleanse the thing. You can even just simply cleanse it by just going, literally blowing it, or you can actually just take it and put in your receptive hand, that, close it, and when you have a grasp of it like so, grasp it carefully, not too hard that you damage it, but squeeze a little bit, and then pretty much visualize and feel the energy, all the energy that's in the stone, get pulled, and it goes from your arm this way, and then it goes onto the other side, onto your other arm, and then it's going to be exiting out of your other hand. So, got the close, focusing in, visualizing it going up and out. And if you notice, it actually got a little bit clearer after that. But anyway, so now that the stone is, back to, well, natural, I guess, without any intention on it, we had to give it intention. So usually the fastest way is just simply having the intention in the mind and then just simply, again, blowing the intention onto it. And when you're giving the intention through air, have the intention being repeated in your mind over and over and over and over again. But as soon as you exhale, the intention leaves out of your mouth. So I have the intention in mind, and I'm saying it over and over in my mind. And upon exhale onto the stone, this intention is going to go out with the breath. So now that the stone has the intention on it, now there's many ways you can go about it. Now, since this stone is going to be like this, be with this intention now, simply, if you actually just want to have this be stuck with that intention until you cleanse it off again, you can just simply put it in the hand you don't write with, the receptive. And if it's a crystal point like this, point it towards you. Like say, if it's the tip is actually going towards, like, again, towards the wrist, going into the vein back to the heart. And since that's going to be going down this artery into the heart, essentially that energy is going to go into the bloodstream, it's going to start circulating through the body. That intention is now going to go through the whole body, it's going to go throughout the whole system. And as you're holding it, the intention of the third eye, psychic, intuitive abilities, they're going to start becoming more and more apparent. And you're going to be more able to use them effectively as you're holding the stone like this. Or even if you want to be a little bit more active with it, you can even just simply, with the same stone, you can put it either, if you want to actually have it be like you're actually being able to, like say if you want to actually use your psychic abilities to actually communicate with the beings that are not visible to the everyday man, take the same point, but now be careful now. Don't be going at it like this. You're taking your crystal point and going, no. Stop. Let's be real here. All you simply have to do is just like right in the middle, just rest it there. Exhale, and when you breathe in, gingerly push it in when you inhale. And as you're breathing it in, you're breathing in the intention through the crystal, through the throat point. And then this specific point of the chakra system is being infused with that ability to communicate with the unseen forces like elementals and spiritual beings. You can hear and speak with them. That's another way. But say if you want to actually focus it on the third eye area, again, the same thing. You would go find the point. In this case, the best way to find the actual point, for me, what I like to do is actually start and make a triangle. So go up, and it should be like where the nose is at, should be like right here. And it's might be different for everybody because everybody's face and head is shaped different. But usually it's going to be like the middle, like where the nose point meets, slightly above it. So for me, it's going to be like right there. And again, just like before. Don't push too hard that, you cause a mark and a bruise and you give yourself an unnecessary headache. When you exhale, then inhale, gingerly push it into that spot. And you can do it more than once if you deem fit. That's another route we can go. And of course, being like Billy Mays, rest in peace, poor guy. Not stopping there. Another route you can go is take the same stone and do it upon the crown. Again, don't push too hard that you're like going to be poking your brain matter, but at the top of the head. Exhale. Gingerly and easily push downward as you inhale. Just like that. Quick and simple. That's one route with the clear quartz. But now say if you're one of those people that's like, what about if I want to use a fancier stone that's not like clear quartz? Okay, fine. Other stones you can use for this example. With stonework, you can use, I'm going to try and start with stones that are kind of common to get a hold of. Obviously, amethyst is probably my second choice. And amethyst is probably, if not the most well-known stone for actually starting the spiritual path anyway. And again, it's the same thing with the clear quartz. Depending on but for specifically amethyst, it would be more fitting to use it in the third eye spot and also on the crown. But you can also do it the same way with the recessive hand and then just pull. And the same thing for breathing. But make sure you cleanse it first at the same time. And I think there's only 1, 2, probably 3. Hello, cat. And 4. 10, that's 5. I have like 5 stones that I'm going to be talking about that potentially may not be water safe, meaning that if you put them in water, they're going to be really mad at you and disintegrate. So don't put them in water. But for like the clear quartz, you can actually like be in a spiritual bath and actually have the clear quartz actually and do the same techniques, or even just have it be in the bath water and infuses the water and you just relax in it. As another route. But another stone you can consider using, trying to find the point hold, is an oddly named one, Sodalite. And this one is more focused on the organization of communication and the thoughts and being able to effectively put like sentence structure and logic and putting everything in a way that it can be perceived to another force or being that they can understand. The same thing again. And since this is a little cutesy little obelisk one, Same thing again. You can put it right on the throat chakra point. Again, don't strangle yourself. Just find the spot right in the middle. Breathe out. Inhale and gingerly push it inward. Don't push it so much that you begin choking yourself. If you're into that kind of a thing, no, that's not what crystals are used for. And usually for Sodalite is really somewhat intended for the throat and third eye. Usually. Next one. Let's actually go pick a different one. Another one, believe it or not, is a Snowflake Obsidian. Snowflake Obsidian is essentially the most spiritual of the obsidians, if you want to be technical. And it's also, funny enough, one of the stones that's also the most childlike. But when it comes to like spirituality and the other worldly abilities, children actually have those abilities when they first come into the world, but like over enhanced. And the Snowflake Obsidian brings that same quality. But for this one, again, this one would be best if like you have another stone supporting it. Like say, for example, you have, again, even a clear quartz with it. The Snowflake Obsidian will have the grounding, but also some of the spiritual third eye and intuitive ability with it. But if you have like a clear quartz, lapis lazuli, amethyst, or another supporting stone alongside of it, you can actually hold the Snowflake Obsidian in one hand, and then having it be sitting in your hand, and then have your hand in front of you, or just like at your base, and then having like the clear quartz point start at the bottom with it, and then you can move the clear quartz point up all the way to the crown, then hold it, then gingerly push at the very top. Then the Snowflake Obsidian is going to follow suit and then bring up the energy too. But when you bring up the Snowflake Obsidian, move it very slow. And what this is doing, it's kind of in a way, to best put it, like if you're quote unquote awakening the inner child. I kind of don't terminology, but that's the best way I can explain it. That's another route. At least with Snowflake Obsidian. Okay, now let's see. Another good one. Except this one's really gentle. This one's like, how do I best put this? This one's kind of like having a little cutesy, cheeky little cherub trying to like give you these abilities. This one is Angelite. Now, Angelite, again, it's a cutesy cherub like stone. Don't get it wet. It does not like being wet. So keep that in mind. With Angelite, this one primarily you can have it be with a throat, but it's also really good at restoring the ability and being able to nurture, like say if you were like psychically attacked, or if you're in a mental fog or actually mentally not in a good standing, just simply having the Angelite in your recessive hand and just holding it will help bring a more sincere, tranquil state of being. Again, don't get it wet. Do not get that wet. It'll be really mad and it'll start fading away. Next one. Well, Black Moonstone, or any moonstone for that matter. But specifically with Black Moonstone essentially is probably, if not the most phenomenal for doing any kind of astral travel, astral projection, essentially seeing without your eyes, metaphorically speaking. And Black Moonstone can also really enhance the ability to instinctively know like what's going on around you, because it's actually also not only a stone of the lovely love, it's also a stone of Nyx. And Nyx, as well, where I'm at, it's nighttime, and she's technically outside. But altogether, Moonstone, again, being of the moon does have the foundational luminary dominion over psychic ability, more than the sun, actually. So Moonstone, but specifically Black Moonstone, is actually meant to be more going into the darker points of oneself and bringing those to the surface and actually using them for whatever they're deeming fit to use. Let's see. Another one. Good old Lappy. Now, Lappy is, how do I put this? Essentially, you have to be in the right state of mind and the right state of awareness and being in the right viewpoint in order to actually really get the qualities of the stone and actually put them into practice. Because if you're not in a good state, Lappy will not do anything for you. Think of Lappy kind of like, think of it like like a really strict queen that's like, if you want my help from me, you're gonna have to, be at this standard, Till then, I ain't doing nothing for you. It can be a little bit, how do I put this? It'll only give you assistance if you're, quote unquote, this is the best way I can put it. Oh, perfect, food abroad. Hello, Mara. But Lappy, you have to be on your best. You have to put your best foot forward and be at your best if you're going to try and get assistance with it. Oh, clairvoyance. Oh yeah, and then this is the same. And these techniques will help too. But Lappy, make sure you're in a really good standpoint to be able to understand what Lappy can actually assist you with. Because if you're not in that clear state, you won't be able to get much out of this. Oh, core. I'm always doing fine. Not exactly where I want to be, but I'm good. Hello, Jabrail. I'll probably save that one for last because that one's okay. Fine, I'll be biased. That one's like my favorite stone so far. Another one. Now this stone, and hello, Jabrail. I think I just said that, but oh well. Double hello. This one's actually really. I would actually suggest this one. Well, potentially she may, but then again, whenever you're asking assistance from Lilith, I like to inform people that when you're approaching her, invite her in a way that's actually like, in a way, this is going to sound so odd, but like, imagine you're going towards her, like if you're going to try and seduce her into wanting to come towards and actually see, oh, you want my help with something? Like whatever your intention is or goal trying to get done. Oh, so you want me to accompany you to what now? Let me see. That's what seduction is. You're piquing her curiosity. So she'll come and see what it is and listen to whatever it is that you're asking assistance of. But number one thing, and I'm going to be pushing this till I kick the bucket. If she says no, like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it, hon. Sorry. Just drop it there. Don't push her. And even still thank her for her moments of actually willing to actually see what you're wanting assistance with and giving that gratitude, because little things like that, and since you also gave Lilith her voice, that's huge because she had her voice taken away by some old geezer saying, you must submit to him. You're just mad because I blue balled you. No, it's okay. Don't worry. You're the first one to get blue balled in existence history. It's okay. Don't worry. But anyway, this next stone is actually one of the softest stones I have. It's a most hardness scale of 1.5 or 2. Well, some spirits you might have to be you may be pushy with sometimes, and you might have to be. But with Lilith, with her being all about empowerment of the self as her core first, and since she had her voice taken away, you're being admirable and giving her what she was denied, which is really an impressive way of actually gaining her respect. But this stone, at a most hardness of 1.5 or even sometimes 2, this is called, I'm going to butcher the name, Stissenschite. Stinche, or something like that. This stone is actually, think of it like you have amethyst merged with amethyst, and I would even say sodalite, and a little bit of lapis. So this is actually a stone intended for like a teaching, like somebody who teaches and guides people, because Stissenschite opens the awareness of other perspectives and activating the humbleness to even say, I got nothing, I don't know, but why don't we both go together? And is also a good stone to actually help somebody who's teaching come up with other ways of sharing information. But again, it being a purple stone, it goes for the third. But again, this is one is probably the one you do not want to get wet. Being a hardness of 1.5 to 2, you get this wet, it's like a sponge. It's a little, you can feel that it's kind of squishy-ish. So be careful with Stissenschite. But for Stissenschite, even like with sweat, it can risk it. So for this one, I would even suggest, if you have a clear quartz point or just clear quartz altogether, you can even just take the stone like this one, the Stissenschite, or any soft stone that you don't want to risk, having it hissy fit at you for getting it wet. You can do what I like to call you're imbuing another stone with a stone's energy, but specifically with clear quartz. So what you would do, of course, cleanse it. And since this is like no intention and just natural, metaphorically speaking, what you do is you actually take the stone and then actually have it come into contact with the clear quartz. And then you visualize this clear quartz becoming an exact copy of the stone. And when you push on it, be very careful. Again, this is a 1.5 hardness stone. And you can push a total of 3 times. And now this clear quartz point now pretty much is an exact mimic of this stone. So say if you actually wanted to make a crystal elixir with this stone, well, put it in water, it's going to be never seen again. So instead, putting a clear quartz point with that stone mimicking it. Now, if you put this in the water with that stone being like what it's actually mimicking, you can now make a crystal elixir out of it and then pretty much ingest it. But again, make sure there's no shards of the stone in there because that'll not be the most comfortable getting out of the body. Next one. Getting down to the wire here. Next one. This one is not really, I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about it. And then again, it is kind of a rarish stone. I'm going to try and pronounce it. This one is Aijote, Igite, something to that effect. This one is essentially you're able to go into the throat and also down a little bit to the heart, but actually go to the depths of like the emotional side. And the thing with the emotional, like emotional communication, spirits and beings that lack a physical body, one of the ways that like elementals and say like nature spirits, like nymphs, naiads, merfolk, or anything of the sorts, most of the time they communicate by expression and like intuitiveness. They don't really speak. They just this it's going to sound odd, but when your third eye is open, you actually are able to witness them and see them. They tend to be animated, and the way that they with their expressions, that's how they can communicate. This actually helps you understand it and actually be able to translate it, if that makes sense. You can even also, if you actually just want to have a Goetic divine assist you with it, you can just have Duke Ogres help you with that. Anything regarding communication, doesn't matter if it's like Morse code, spiritual communication, learning a new language, even simply just going tapping like that, or even Braille, binary. It's language, and Ogres knows how to teach languages and understands all languages, including American Sign Language, and of course the language of like nature, believe it or not. Next one. This one is probably one of my absolute favorites, but this little thing jumps because it is a jumper. Oh, nasty. And it feels like I'm holding a piece of, like I'm holding water, but I'm not. This is a blue topaz. Now, blue topaz is, it's actually, believe it or not, has the same qualities of clear quartz in a way. Like it's really easy to adapt. It can adapt very well and enhance the potential ability of being what's being put out, especially regarding writing and expression of emotions and being in kind of in a blissful flow state. But with blue topaz, it's so it feels like well, when you actually hold a piece of blue topaz, you're thinking, "Am I holding water?" But you're not. You're actually holding a stone. But it it feels weird. But it actually helps put you in a serene, calm state of being able to actually become attuned about what's around you. And this and the topazes are actually a most hardness of 7-ish, I believe. So you could put this in water, but if you want to be safe, again, just have the contact method like that and imbue and clear quartz with it. Now, the next one. Now, this one is a little. Oh, it does that to me every time. Yeah, this one's a potent one. Like, this one is Apophyllite. This, oh, just simply holding it pretty much makes my whole head ring. The joys of being sensitive to a stone. But anyway, Apophyllite. Think of like selenite, and now you're taking the purity and the anti impurities and the pretty much the afflictions on the spiritual standing and all that. You're taking the protective and cleansing and purification and purity qualities of selenite. Now you're hello, Lissy, and now you're timesing it and you're amplifying it by like times 10. That's apophyllite, and this little thing hits like a truck, especially when you first. Oh, not a problem, Lissy. This little thing hits like a truck. Oh, and when you first come into contact, I mean, I remember when I did. As soon as I touched it, when I got it from my friend Adam, as soon as I touched it, like literally, I just heard both my ears just go ping, kind of like there was a um like say if you have like a hammer and you're hitting it against a cast iron pot, like a ping or something like that. Yeah, that's what both my ears. That's the sound I heard in both ears, and I felt something just go like explode, like right here on the forehead. You know that, yeah. But apophyllite is really good for actually clearing any kind of BS that's in the way. Last but not least, and probably, well, then again, I have the stone on me like all the time. Well, yeah, you can kind of call apophyllite pretty much the spiritual inner shockwave. This last stone, well, okay, I'm biased still. What is actually the blue sapphire? But the thing with blue sapphire, though, blue sapphire, of course, being a stone of Saturn, is really all about organization and pretty about being realistic, practical, and actually being able to have the self control to even listen, communicate, and to actually be patient. And when you're developing abilities like these, you need to have a lot of patience and being like focused on it. But again, when it comes to Saturn, when Saturn is learning a skill, even astrology, believe it or not, Saturnian people who do astrology actually are known to be, if not one of the best people to actually do astrology, but they have to see how it works and they apply it. But Blue Sapphire does have that quality of staying focused on mastering the skill. So it also helps with staying committed, focused, and not being woozy wooed away from the goal at hand. So that is some, not all of the stones, because there are, of course, so many more that you can use. Also, depending on like what sector of life you want to put it in. Blue sapphire. Here, I'll bring it up again so you can see. Here, let me do this. Well, that doesn't help a bit. Here, let's try it again. Pretty much almost all the stones, with the exception of my amethyst, the clear quartz point, the lapis, the sodalite, and I believe that's it. All of the stones I've gotten were from my friend Adam, and he essentially is like legit the crystal stone master. Black stone with purple. Maybe it might be. It maybe could be Sudrolite, maybe. Or it could even be again the little station shite here. Is it hard? Is it a hard? Oh, that's gonna sound so odd. Is it a hard stone or a soft stone? Does it feel like a sponge, or is it like that sounds so weird? Or is it rocky? Of course, it's rocky. It's a stone. But anyway, smooth. Okay then. Probably it could be station shite, maybe. But if it's a if it kind of it has a bit of a spongy feel to it, then it might be this one. This and shite. Possibly. All right, next order of business. Now, oh, here I go. The plants, like essential oils or even plants that can be incorporated. Well, let's see here. First and foremost, my number one choice for actually enhancing the spiritual. Actually, wait, I forgot one. One of them just hit me in the back of the head just now. Let's make it happen. Actually, I think there might be two now. Why must you all hit me in the head at once? Just don't hit the face. That's the moneymaker. Oh no, definitely not that one. Unless if you want to actually, have your nostrils despise you for a period of time. That one's not suggested. Definitely not that one. That one will make you regret putting it up to your nose. Okay. The first one. Oh. Yeah, happy full moon on top of my sun. Oh boy, here we go. And also technically my Mercury too. Oh boy, here we go. So, first one, lavender. And believe it or not, I got this big honking bag of lavender back in 2018, and I still have like that much of lavender left. Like all lavender. So, lavender is actually one of the herbs that is actually like a staple. You can even just simply, like, if you have a bag of lavender and it's fresh, and this one is actually from France, and what you can actually do is just simply, this thing looks so weird, but hey, if it works, it works. You can even just simply have the bag be open, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. I know what you're thinking. You're like, what the heck is he doing? Just do it and listen. Breathe in, breathe out. And lavender naturally actually calms the mind and relaxes you and actually puts you into a state of receptivity, being able to see what's around you. And also lavender also attracts beneficial and supporting and positive spiritual beings. But lavender is like my first choice I'd go with. That's one. Another one. But now this one does not really, based on what I've seen, it doesn't not really have that much of a spell. Next one is cornflower. Now cornflower as a plant was actually a natural dye for like an indigo and purple color. And of course, again, with color, cornflower does have that ability to communicate, and also the third intuitive side. And also, cornflower can also be put into workings that are actually meant to actually have any kind of disagreements or hostility. It's kind of like putting in like I think of like cornflower as like that friend that gets in between two other friends that are like saying, "Hey, you two, chill out, relax, make peace now." It's a really it dismantles and it kind of eases like hostility, but also does have that psychic ability with it. Next one, but English, English sage. Now, the sages, each kind of sage is different, but English sage actually does bring in I would have to say, it's this. All sages do have that foundation of being able to cleanse and neutralize the surrounding and everything within its vicinity. But whenever you have a sage go, you have to put in something new to pretty much fill in the voided space by sage. But English sage does kind of give a little bit of a boost, but when it comes to like putting into practice the knowledge that's been learned. But going a little bit over to the plants now that are like oils, one of my absolute favorites is none other than the other kind of sage, clary sage. Literally, I could stick this up my nose and not give a no about what anybody says. To me, it smells like iced tea. Not like twisted tea and not a Long Island, okay? So, clary sage, as a scent and as a plant, does give a really uplifting and in kind of state of a like open awareness and being more in tune with what's around you. And also, believe it or not, clary sage is also an extremely Lilithian plant. But how is it a Lilithian plant? Well, best put it. Clary sage assists with essentially childbirth. So, say if you're expecting a child and you're carrying it, and when it's time to bring that life into the world, the simple scent of clary sage can actually relax the body and relax the mother's state of like her mental and emotional state, put her in a relaxed state, and actually that'll assist with the child delivery. Okay. Like, what's my go-to type of candle? Like a pillar or glass encased or tea light or something like that? Figural? Is that what you're trying to say? But clary sage is actually really also helpful for opening the intuitive and instinctual side of being able to pick up and detect and being able to be more connected, if that makes sense, to what's around you. Another one. Now this plant is actually known to, I like to call this plant, essentially it's like lavender. Lavender's more serious and no more serious and strict older sibling. Oh, you're talking like the candle color? For me, I tend to always gravitate you tend to always gravitate to either black, white, and believe it or not, pink. But I also I prefer to use and work only with these kind. I prefer glass encased because there's so much room you can work on with it, and also you can stuff it in like that. And I actually really enjoy doing that. But then again, if I don't have one of those, of course, I'll improvise with a tea light and a freestanding. With those ones, you can actually make it like a grid around it without worrying about the wax getting on a crystal. Be like, nah. And also, scented candles, believe it or not, they actually can be incorporated in magical practice, and the scent they give off does assist with what the workings you're trying to do. Even if it's, even if it's not beeswax, even if it's not palm wax, even if it's not a natural source of wax, the scent that's in it does assist, despite what anybody else says. Well, it's scented with non natural scents and perfumes. It still can do something and work, but it's not natural. This is not your magic, is it? Mm-hmm. Usually that's what I say in response to stuff like that. But anyway, the next plant, as I like to call it, lavender's older, strict, and more serious twin, older brother, it's hyssop. Hyssop is known to pretty much be the ultimate, okay, this impurity out. Somewhat similar to oregano, except oregano is anti-BS everything. Hyssop is more, hyssop does have a bit of a more calmer way of going about it. Like, it's more like adamant on just out. No, just go. Go. While oregano, the little feisty thing is like, you know what? No, get out. You get out of here. That's the difference between the two. They're both pushy, but hyssop is more like go, 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 go. Oregano's like picks it up and throws it out the window. But hyssop does pretty much clear any kind of blockages. But as an essential oil, hyssop, this is a pretty that one. Hyssop just pushes. Oregano pretty much gets the shiny stick out and goes golf with it. But as the essential oil hyssop, this one from doTERRA, it doesn't come out that often. And hyssop, as getting it from like the plant, even if it's just like one petal, or even if it's the stalk of the plant, that'll still work. Next one. I'm gonna go with one of my next favorites. Next one is Juniper Berry. I love the smell of Juniper Berry. Now, Juniper Berry. Juniper, the berry part of it at least, I like to call it the little tiny battering ram of terror. Juniper Berry. Because Juniper Berry pretty much goes like breaks down something that's like holding back something from being able to be released and experienced. Juniper goes, yeah, it's like the battering ram, but juniper berries are tiny, but this thing, yeah, it goes and it kicks and kicks and kicks. But once it kicks down, it actually goes like, okay, the door's down. I'm going to grab and just really reach in there and yank out what needs to be out. Because juniper berry is also a really, 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 really Scorpio heavy plant. And with juniper berry, you can actually incorporate it with its like abilities to be able to go into the depths of like terrains within the self that I don't even know how this is going to work. Really go in there and be fearless and actually pull out what you need to understand in order to actually use these qualities better. Scorpio no moon with moon Saturn. Oh wait, Scorpio moon. No, is it no moon? Because if it's a no moon, you're pretty much having, best put it, you're having Chandra 100% there. instead of moon. And shiny, well, to me, when it comes to like trines, squares, sextiles, ah, actually, based on that, really, let's see here. Scorpio, that would be okay. But like with the squares though, and the, I don't know what that was. With squares, trines, um, yods, I think, grand trines or anything like that. To me, drawing shapes in it, to me, it just makes it overcomplicated. But how Scorpio, 4 places away from Scorpio is Aquarius. I like to put it as like the mind gets actually nourished by Saturnian things. And because since Saturn is now in Aquarius looking at Leo, the 10th from Saturn becomes Moon. So really, your karmic obligation to the world does involve assisting people with their emotional depths and actually helping them surpass it, face it, and recover from it. Because Scorpio, again, is that sign that likes to go pluck out something that needs to be plucked out. Face it, and then after it's done, be done with it. So, and I'm just using the simple aspects of that. But also depending on how, well, then again, Saturn in Aquarius is, he's probably in this most happiest spot. And when Saturn's happy, everybody else can have the chance to be happy too. I'll say that again one more time. When Saturn's happy, everyone now has the opportunity to be happy. Because if Saturn's not happy in a chart, no, not really. Not really. All the planets are going to have a really good chance of things working out because he's pissed off. But then again, he's usually mad at everything anyway. But anyway, next one. This one is probably, if not one of my other favorites. I think I've said that for all the plants anyway. This one is called Tulsi. Yep, and sometimes the best way to actually have somebody be able to know or feel safe is simply what I do. If like somebody's in a state of fear and like I don't know what to do, I'm not comfortable, I'm scared, just simply do that. And they ask, "What are you doing?" Then that's when you just say, "All I'm doing is just showing I'm here, and whenever you need to, grab the hand if you need it. I'm not going to push you, but the option's there. So if you need it, grab a hold and grip as hard as you can. And there's a reason behind it. When you have state in their mind like being ungrounded, as soon as they grab your hand and they squeeze as tight as they can, what you're doing is you're allowing them to grip a hold of you, and that brings them down to earth. And I have done this technique with so many people, especially a friend of mine who was really under the influence and not in a good standing and not in a good point. And like he was experiencing like psychosis and symptoms. And essentially, I just did the same thing. And I said, if you need it, grab it and squeeze it as hard as you can. Don't worry if you're afraid of like you're going to break my hand. I don't care. Just grab it if you need it. You sure? Mm-hmm. If you need it, it's there. About a minute or two went by. Out of nowhere, I just felt his hand grab mine and gripped as hard as he could. And believe me, I was about to shriek like a schoolgirl having my hand just get... But I didn't say a word. I just... Immediately after he did that, he felt like he was back to normal. And no, I did not have to go to the hand doctor after that. And then ever since then, he told me that. Ever since then, how would you know to even do that? Intuitively, I just did it. So that's just an example. And one of the techniques I like to use. So consider using that if you deem fit to use them. Next plant, though, is Tulsi or known as holy basil. Even if it's like, having physical contact with another person, even simply here, you can even have it be. I lost it. It'll come back. There it is. You can even just have it be like one finger, like you can just hold out one finger, and if and just tell them like what you're doing, and not pointing at them, being like you no, just have the finger out, and just let them know if they need it to get their finger, have it just lock with yours like that. You're still having the physical contact, but then telling them again when that contact happens, let them know to actually grip as tight as they can, and then just breathe and relax. If they have a ring, you might have to endure it a little bit, but that'll count as well. That's another idea. But then again, the whole idea of it all, even if it's uncomfortable for you, something as simple as that may actually really bring somebody back down to earth and prevent them from being put into a situation or a state of awareness where they may do something they might regret or not aware of what they're doing. But it's just an idea and a theory. But then again, as we all have to say, I'm not a medical doctor. Make sure you get a professional involved. Yada, yada, yada. I can't diagnose, but I can only say, based on my findings and what I've done, I've been consistent, is that. Well, but let's see, kind of in a way, you do. In a way. But moving on. Holy Basil, or Tulsi. To best put it, this is actually known as the queen of all the spices. That's her title. And Tulsi actually is known to be associated with Lord Vishnu himself. And what is the excel point of Lord Vishnu? He is essentially the Grandmaster of being able to listen. Shravana, for bloody sakes. And since Lord Vishnu is the preserver, and essentially everything is a Vishnu, Tulsi can really help you be able to listen and become in tune with everything around you. So Tulsi is one. Another one, believe it or not, rose. Rose as a plant is probably, if not the most adaptive floral oil and plant. Essentially, whatever nutrient or mineral or vitamin your body's lacking, when you consume a little bit of rose, like rose tea, rose hip, or even just apply rose water to your skin, or even rose oil for goodness sake, whatever nutrient you're lacking, rose attempts to balance it out and become what your body's lacking. Especially you ingest it, like rose tea again, rose water. When you ingest it, rose tries to bring you back into that balanced state and adapts. I even like to call it Nurse Rose for that. Now this next one is probably, if not one of the hardest oils to get for a plant. Yep, same thing. Rose, like if your hair is not like strong, like if it doesn't have enough biotin, I believe that's the mineral for it. Rose, you can just simply put here. Allow me to demonstrate. Speaking of rose, with that thought in mind, figured I'd also share. Um, this is actually all rose petal. I'm actually making a rose base for a floral perfume. And I kid you not, this smells like candy. Legitimate, like candy. Like the sweetest candy known to man. And all that's in here is just vodka and rose petals. I don't know what's going on in there. I'm just going to not accept it. And my other one is, this one is Heinzeth. All Heinzeth. So, Rose Heinzeth. Woozy wooey, intoxicating candy scent. Oh boy. But let's say, like for the rose oil or rose water, simply grease, or, for goodness sake, moisten your hand as such. Rub it together. And now you use your hand as like a comb. You just comb through your hair. Starting at whatever you deem fit, and you just comb it all the way through. So rose will actually help support the hair in that regard. But another oil that's actually really good for the hair, since we're going to be talking about the hair, and also hair, speaking of that, whenever you do any kind of psychic work that even does involve the hair, like the hair is also the intent of the spirit. So please take care of your weave. Now, don't be thinking like, oh my gosh, you said weave. Oh no. Hold on, hon. Calm down. Nope, don't make me get out the lavender bag. Another really good one for the hair is the ylang. Like literally, ylang is actually known to be, if not the most well known for hair health. And again, the same thing with like the rose tip. You just simply put a little drop here. I'll even do it again, even though this might be the last bit of my yangling, but for science. Yangling, here. Let me, hold on, this is going to sound so weird. Let me screw the tip back on. But here. Let's see. How's this? Let me know when you got it, let's see. Okay, good. And actually, if you'd like to, I mean, do you have like the link to my Facebook Messenger? Like down below, like there's like a link tree something thing. If you follow that, you can message me on Messenger if you like, and I can actually help you get one of these bottles if you'd like, or any of my links below to get into contact. You just follow my link in bio, I think, either or one of the two. Okay, goody. But again, for science, with ylang, essentially the flower that everybody loves, ylang. No, really. Think of ylang like that high school, like that high school girl that everybody in school loves, and every guy wants to be with her, and she's like the prom queen. Everybody loves her, but she doesn't want anybody else because she just loves everybody. Yeah, that's yangling in a nutshell. So just one little drop. Oh, naturally. Oh, I still have some left. Good. So, yangling right there. Again, the same thing. Get it onto the fingertips and right through the hair. Same thing again. Put that back. And as I was saying, I'm going to save a really good one for last. This one, if you can yangle it, well, I can't describe it because with me, whenever I smell a plant, I always get the feeling of like a plant actually speaking to me. I don't actually, because my mind is like, oh, it sounds like it's saying this, but it has a smell instead. That's just how my brain works. The next one. Now, this one, again, like I said, this one is probably a really rare one, and thank goodness the tip was on it, or the lid. Try to jump out of my hands, a little nasty. This one is, see if I can get it in the shot. Blue Lotus. Now, you can have Blue Lotus tea. That'll work just as fine. But Blue Lotus oil. What house is my Taurus? Well, look at it this way. Venus is my Yoga Karaka, Atma Karaka, and my Navamsha becomes exalted with Digbala and with directional strength. And Taurus for me, as an Aquarius Lugna, would be essentially the house, which is the heart, the emotions, and as well as sense of security, wealth, conveniency, and luxury. And my Venus is in the 9th house in Libra. So it's like Yoga Karaka, lucky planet, Atmakarika, and then keeps the Atmakarika and the Vamsha, becomes exalted with directional strength. So it's just like, okay, Venus. Yeah, Venus, here, you can have you could be the number one lead in this. Yeah. But anyway, Blue Lotus. Think of Blue Lotus as like very similar to Jasmine, but Jasmine, unlike Blue Lotus, has the probably of all the floral oils, Blue Lotus has got to be, if not the most potent in essentially being in the most Zen state, and also being in a way like how like water is on a duck's back that just goes slides right off, but instead it's like here comes negativity towards you, and you pretty much have Blue Lotus on you. Negativity does this, slides right off. No. Negativity just slides right off. Nope. It's that Zenful. Fifth house Libra, so essentially, yeah. That make Dharma be. I see. Okay. A Blue Lotus is also a really potent enlightening plant. So you can just have a Blue Lotus tea, or even just burn Blue Lotus, like legit Blue Lotus, not like some definitely not Blue Lotus disguised as like lavender or cornflower for bloody sakes, because that can happen. Nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. Another one. Let's see. Another one would be Jasmine, of course. Jasmine is really good for opening the awareness, and also a woozy woo lowly plant. Like it puts you in a state of like, oh, I did. It is what it is. It's not bad or good. It's just what it is. Everything has something good to it. You just got to look for it. Okay, Jasmine, yeah. Jasmine essentially is the most spiritual love plant, but is also one of the most woozy woo like lulling. And Jasmine is also known to be a man woozy wooer and a man puller. It is what it is, okay? At least that's what the plant told me when I interacted with the plant. But now, the moment of truth, one of the best plants to add in any mixture. I don't care if you're making a mixture to woozy woo someone, to hex someone, to curse someone, to have an anvil land on somebody's head, any kind of intention. The number one plant that I would suggest you start incorporating in any type of working or mixture is Roman chamomile. Roman chamomile? You mean that thing that's like in almost like every tea, kind of? Yeah, Roman chamomile. Because what does Roman chamomile do? Yep, that'll work too. What does Roman chamomile do when it's around another plant? Any plant. It supports it. It helps it grow. When you put chamomile with any other plant, it assists that plant's qualities and enhances it. Think of it kind of like think of chamomile as like a really motivating cheerleader that somehow for some way motivates every other plant that comes anywhere near it. And I mean, I love the smell of it anyway. But now keep in mind, German chamomile and it's funny, I have Chiron and Leo too. Chiron, I have to ask you, why'd you shoot yourself? The world may never know. But German chamomile is a different species, but German and Roman chamomiles are completely different. Yep, again and again. Not the white, yeah. But Roman chamomile, when you have it paired with any other plant in a mixture or even an oil blend, it helps enhance the other plant's potential and the qualities that they're trying to be put together for. So it's like a motivating plant at that. Okay, so I talked about the plants, I talked about the oils. Let's see, what's another one of more psychic ability and enhancement and all that? Oh, I got one. Next one. Let's actually talk about using murderous. No, not murderous. not murderous, because for me, if you're going to be doing murderous, now, depending, hello Z, murderous, well, I'll talk about it anyway, because why not? I just said it. Murderous are essentially doing certain body gestures, including the eyes, having them be in a certain way. And because of them being put in this way, kind of like that, yeah. But based on how it's being formed, certain points in the body opens, closes, and adjusts depending on it. So, like, say for an example, that's a murderer. That is a murderer. So is this. Like simply pointing at something, or even as simply as this. This is a murderer. That's a murderer. This. That's a murderer. Same thing with this. This is a murderer. Little things like that. But specifically, if we're going to be focusing on here, a murderer for that. Now, here's the thing. When working on the intuitive ability, of course, the first one to come to mind is, of course, Jupiter Guru as one. So is Venus. And when you're using Venus, you would use the pinky. You would not use the ring finger, because the ring finger is intended for the sun. Because if you were to actually, use the qualities of, like what I'm going to explain in a little bit, when you have the sun get involved, you're going to have the sun qualities come in. So you may become aware of it, but it actually may burn you at the same time, metaphorically speaking. So essentially, here's what each finger is, generally, based on the common collective. The thumb is Mars. Well, for me, I like to see Scorpio as like water that's restricted. Because again, Scorpio, believe it or not, is also the part of water that's stagnant. Not only is it like lake water, okay, fine, the dark water, the water, but also ice, frozen water, stuck. And that's also devotion, commitment. That water and everything that's in it is not going to change unless if it gets heated up. You can swing and whack at it, but it's still going to stay the same. It may be chipped and damaged, but it's still the same internally. Eccentricity is needed in the world. Uniqueness is needed in the world. Let it out. But essentially, the planets on the hand go as such. And you're always going to be using the thumb. Mars is the thumb. Jupiter is the index finger. Saturn or Shani, of course, is the middle finger. Well, I don't need to explain that one. Oh, get out of here. Nope, I don't want to do that. Surya, the sun, is the ring. And the moon, Mercury, and Venus are the pinky. And before somebody comes in saying, but what about this being like the Mount of Venus? We're talking about the fingers here. Only the fingers. Thumb, and then these four. You cannot put Venus onto here, because when you put, like, say, for an example, you're bringing, let's say, if you're trying to bring, like, Guru and Venus together, you're pretty much bringing two gurus together like this, and there might be some conflict. And it may actually lead to confusion, you're having one guru push one way and then another one push the other, it can actually lead to instability potentially. That's why it's Mars. And Mars actually rules the sign of Aries, which is the physical body in the natural zodiac layout. So Mars is the physical body. And also Mars, Aries, is the head. So you're taking Aries, the body, the brain, the head, and now depending on which graha you're putting in there, you're going to be putting it in like this. So like that. But with the last finger, the pinky finger, you have to let the pinky finger know which one. Moon, Mercury, or Venus. Let it know which one you're calling, because if you don't, it's going to go, okay, pinky, okay, which one? We don't know. I guess we'll just draw straws to see which one of you is going to be it. Okay, looks like it's Moon. Oh, you wanted it to be Venus? Whoops. But still. So, for psychic ability and awareness and building on these skills, well, for one, if you bring Saturn with it, you can, in a way, say yes, because being able to sit perfectly still and be in a Zen state and not be distracted, just becoming more aware and in control of the self, and being able to detect any kind of energetic changes around you. That one can't be. Yep. I love Saturn too. I even like to call him Papa. The old angry old man. Don't do it. Jupiter could be another one, but again, as a guru, remember, Brihaspati, Jupiter, he teaches like he's a general. He is a bit, and he makes you clean toilets to find divinity. Yeah, that's how he gets you to divinity. But he's also the greatest benefit too. And when you bring the planets, when you're trying to bring the planet's qualities in, you're going to be bringing the Mars, and you're going to be having them touch one another. So the physical body, the brain, meets Guru Pisces, which is the depths of spirituality in the other world, but also Sagittarius, and also having the philosophical understanding of the spiritual side come into the brain and the mind and the head. They come together like that. Yeah, of course. Saturn. Okay. Having Capricorn come in, being able to be disciplined and have the self-control and staying focused on achieving a goal and obtaining the rewards from it. But then the Aquarius side, having the innovative way of actually taking and using theories on a higher, because Aquarius is the highest intellectual sign, using those qualities to actually take it and then put it into practice. Oh, splendid. Splendid. Just love it when you're in tune, you just follow that. So that's how Saturn can help. Sun, Leo, well, not really, because with the Sun, again, like I said, with the Sun, when you're trying to enhance your intuitive ability, well, Sun completely blows everything like in crystal clear view, and the last thing you want to have is everything be known to you and aware, because you may not want to know things and become instinctively connected to things that you best didn't. Like, for example, like say, okay, let's see. Oh, crap. Yeah, that's what my neighbor looks like without any clothes on? No. That's a potential risk. So, if that's what you would like, okay, have at it. I'll just be careful with Syria, though. You may also, because Sun is a mild malefic and he burns things where he's placed, but you become aware of him much easier and faster. But if you deem fit, okay, have at it. Now, the pinky. Again, before you touch it, make it known. Okay. So let's say, if you're going to bring in Mercury. Now, Mercury with the third eye intuitiveness and the ability to use the third eye and build on the skills, Mercury may not be the best, because Mercury is now kind of being put in the idea of Piscean air, like the Piscean area, where he gets kind of pissed off, like, how am I supposed to logically understand this? Huh? I don't see anything. But again, Mercury as a planet is always curious. Always curious. So he really doesn't get like as agitated, but he still would much rather have something logical to work with. So Mercury can actually help gather information about it and use logic to put into practice. But as for like say I was supposed to say the best for last. Moon. Now, Moon is probably a better choice instead of Sun, because Moon actually naturally has the qualities of intuitability, psychic ability, and the motherly instinct, because Moon is the mother figure. And Cancer does have the divine mother quality within it. So when Moon comes with Mars, the brain, the Cancerian and Moon qualities now depends. Depending on how your chart can be, if Moon is waxing, like getting bigger, or full moon, it can actually show that the qualities may come to you a lot faster when doing this. But if Moon's going around the other way, it can actually make you become a bit more like adamant and more pushy to get it. Get it? But nothing wrong with that. But you may have to work a little bit longer when doing this and holding it a little bit longer. But waxing Moon will actually help you get that ability to understand and comprehend and put into practice much easier if it's waning. But still, you still can actually get the same results, but it might take a little bit longer for a waning moon or no moon. But a full moon, it'll be much more simpler. Venus. Now let's go back all the way to Venus. What's Venus again? The guru to assure us. The guru that teaches you anything you want to know and will not stop until you understand it completely. So again, what are you going to have the pinky be? Okay, I want it to be Sugarcharya. You bring it down with Mars into the brain, into the mind, the head. Venetian qualities. Okay, so you have a wish. What's the wish that you want to have? Be given, but be specific. I would like to enhance my spiritual awareness, spiritual abilities, intuitive qualities, being able to instinctively detect and become more aware of what's around me, and also enhancing my third eye abilities. And also it'd be Sugarcharya that assists me. Saying something like that and then having it come into contact, it'll be much more okay. Oh, I hate it. I hate it when they're just like, oh, okay, wish granted. As soon as I make contact like that, I felt something like right here in my head just go, yeah. Like yeah. Uh, very funny. And even just simply holding it like this, and if you want to use both hands, you can. But primarily when you're trying to bring in something, you. Oh no, I don't. No, no, no. It's just that the whole feeling of like, Sugarcharya, I just adore you. Kind of made me almost like, whoa, okay. I was just like trying a demonstration, but okay, if you actually really want to go for it, okay. And then simply just holding like this for as long as you deem fit, and to give like just holding it for like about a minute or two, or even as long as you deem fit. All of those qualities that you said to become more apparent with in your awareness, it'll actually start opening up naturally. That's another one. And I think that's all of them that I can think of. No, wait, that's all the planets. When it comes to like Rahu and Ketu and Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Black Moon Lilith, they don't really have a finger for that. And for like if you're actually going to be using parts of the hand to represent like where a planetary placement is, it all depends on somebody's individual birth chart because there's no set in stone way for that. Because each birth chart's different And depending on like here, for example, since I have Moon and Saturn together in Capricorn, that would be like in the middle. That's the middle finger, and Capricorn it would be Shravana. Actually, it would be Uttarashada, Shravana, Daneshta. Well, if you want to be extra technical, let's go back to Uttarashada. Uttarashada, Abhijit, Shravana. Yeah. And Daneshta, like I said. And then it would be moving over down into Sapphire and so on. So essentially, then depending on what planet you want to activate, but if you have a conjunction, that's where you got to be like a little bit more aware of like where you're putting the thumb and activating it. But that's like advanced though, like getting like fine-tuned pinpoint. But I mean, that's just one of the many ways of the murder though. Next one, Yantras. Now again, using Yantras, it all depends on, again, the person's individual chart and the placements. You can't just pick up one of these things willy-nilly and be all like, okay, I want to actually have this quality be more imbued with me. I'm going to grab, like, say, for an example, Moon's Yantra and stick it on my head. No. That's not how it works. And you got to keep in mind, you have to have the intention in mind and also have it in the mind. Because now with Murderous, you can even just simply have it like this. And where you, I'm going to just show you, where you see the dot in the center, if it'll show it, like right in the middle, right here. Right. Like the center and right in the middle, the little dot right there, that's precisely where you look. And you just focus on that dot. And then you just relax your vision and then everything goes from there. But again, depending on your planetary placements, you would want to take a look at your moksha houses, the 4, 8, 12, to see which yantra would be best for you to incorporate. Because if you're trying to enhance these skills, and say, for an example, you have, let's just go with, let's go with Surya for an example. If you have Surya, the sign of Leo, and if it's ruling your second house of wealth as a Cancer Lagna, you wouldn't really want to use Sun's Yantra to enhance the qualities of, the psychic abilities and the intuitive abilities. Because what you're doing when you're using this Yantra, and depending if it's your Makaraka, Darakaraka, depending on what Karaka it is, along with how Sun is placed himself, if he's not even in the 5th house, activating in a way that may not be beneficial. That's how careful you have to be and aware of these yantras, and you have to watch what you do with them. But it takes a while to understand it. But I mean, I'm just giving it as a potential, and you do as you deem fit. But again, if you're in doubt, usually it's best to not use them. Or if anything, when in doubt, ask an expert. Oh, really? As I was saying, when in doubt with yantras, when in doubt, don't even use them. But if you would like to still use them, get advice from an experienced astrologer that actually does have a lot of expertise with the yantras. Ask for their suggestion and guidance whenever in doubt. But if you're not for sure, and if you can't, about Leo? Oh, well, actually, I was talking about the sun. Yeah. Like if you have Sun, like say in the sign of Libra, where he's agitated, and in the 2nd house, you actually potentially may activate Sun in a way where it might not be the best idea for your psychic abilities or qualities. And you might actually risk having Sun become active and having table flip happen. Potentially. Just by having the yantra and looking at it. But still. But like I was saying, be very careful with them though. But it's there. If you'd like to incorporate it. Well, If it's like it can be either or, your awareness or just you looking at it. But again, you have to have the intention behind it. But I would suggest always have like a astrological expert with this specific um um sastra. That was the word I was looking for. Go get guidance from an astrologer experienced with this type of sastra, which is like part of the practice pertaining to it. Ask for their assistance for it, though. Yep. And have them suggest it instead of me, because all I'm doing is like being Mercury right now. Funny enough, like how that one popped up. Just give them the information there, and you take it however you deem fit. But just be aware of it. But now with like Rahu and K2, you may want to have astrologers' viewpoint and their suggestion always with those two, just to be safe, because they're unpredictable. Now let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can also share regarding this topic. You can also, when it comes to the Deva or divine figures to assist you with this, well, first one that comes to mind is Nox, the Night Mother. Yeah, and actually Rahu, believe it or not, it's actually not really bad planet. Because Rahu isn't Asura, like technically you and I. And I mean, if he wants you to come towards something, maybe there might be a reason behind it. I mean, if anything, it doesn't hurt to listen and take in viewpoints of somebody else and then just take it and listen. But what you take and you use and how you put it out is where it matters. Nothing wrong with Love and Rahu, because he is just as vital as all the other grahas. I mean, for bloody sakes, he actually helped make sure that the world didn't flood. And he actually brought it out of the water. And if you do Vastu, like I do, I actually have a statue of Meowth. Yeah, in one of my Vastu corners, where it's actually ruled by Rahu, and Meowth is actually a cat. Rahu has dominion over cats, so yeah, that does help if you're doing Vastu, at least based on my theory crafting. Let's see. Can I actually relocate that? Here. Let me see. Put onto your hat, Mac. Unintended, Vastu education. So let's see. I'm going to also take a look at my computer screen at the same time. This way. Okay. You happen to see all crap. Like all the way over there. You see the Meowth statue? Yep, all the way over there. It should be, okay. So if it's not that way, that way. That corner all the way in the back where the light's at. The little statue right there with the roses on both sides of the ear. Yep, there's the Meowth statue. Right there. Yep. That's an example of a Vastu corner. I won't get any closer because there's another little secret thing that's in there. But yeah. That's an example of a Vastu corner. Meowth. He's a Pokemon. Believe it or not. And funny enough, Meowth in the Pokemon series is actually extremely, if not really close to how Rahu is. Meowth wants to have the wealth, wants to have all the money, wants to be known as respected. And Rahu is the same thing. He wants to be noticed. He wants to be all like, oh, I have to be like this? I'm going to break the norms of society. I'm going to dress up like a Lady Gaga reject, come out with a big bedazzling, tuxedo covered in glitter, wearing a mankini, high heels on one foot, and on the other one, a long black stiletto, one glove on one hand, and spiked fingernails on the other. One and also having like sunglasses with one being crystal clear on one side and the other just pitch black, and having a tongue ring. And everybody is looking at him like, "What the bloody heck are you doing? Why aren't you wearing pants?" "I do what I want to." "But that's not, this is not how society wants you to be." Rahu wants, to get hits to go. What in the world? That's what Rahu likes. And Meowth as a Pokemon. In the show, Pokemon only know how to say their name, what they're called. Like, if Pikachu's the best example. Team Rocket's Meowth with Jesse and James. The Team Rocket's Meowth with Jesse and James, it actually taught itself how to speak the language of the people. It breaks the norms of society within the Pokemon of the Meowths. He speaks human, while the other Meowths are just Meowth. He actually can communicate with people because he knows the language and he can actually say it back to them. That's Rahu. Breaking the norms of society where all the others like him just go Meowth, Meowth. So he's like, "Come on! Get that stupid yellow rat already." Meowth, that's left. I would say what he really says, but I don't know if that'd be like, trademark infringement. God forbid. But that's really Rahu. I wish I did. I would actually have I wish I could say the name of the certain breed of cat, but all I'm going to say is it has green eyes and has a silver coat. And I would actually name it Reginald and just carry it everywhere I go and have it just sit on my shoulder. Just be all, "Oh, meet Reginald." Don't mind him. He likes to pretty much swipe at anything that comes near him. Right, Reginald. Okay, you're going to have to fill up your bowl up on your own when we get home. "Oh, what's up, Reginald? What you want?" "Oh, your bowl's empty? That's a shame." "Oh, you want me to fill it?" "Oh, Reginald." Yep. "Oh, Reginald." I disagree. Oh, that was a Family Guy reference. Let's see, other deities I can assist with. You can also consider Hecate as one. Isis would be another one. Oh, God forbid. People nowadays are like, Iset. Just call her Isis. Long before, the group came along, Isis was already there. Oh. Let's see, what's another one? I'm trying to think of another. Essentially, any mother goddess figure can be one, because mother's intuition. Crown goddesses would be another one. Any crown goddess would be a great one. Technically, really any lunar goddess or any goddess figure altogether, because that's Moon, and Moon does have the dominion over that. Any aquatic divine figure, primarily like, say, Yamocha would probably be a great one. I don't know where she came from. I haven't spoken about her ever. I know about her, but if she wanted to come out and just come through, okay. I'm not gonna say no. Really thinking who else? Toth would be one, or people would know him as Thoth, but Toth, that's how really you say his name. Who else? Trying to really think. Actually, really, technically, yeah. The lunar goddess Diana would be one. Believe it or not, yeah. Even, what's her name? Aradia? which is like the Roman, which is also kind of like Hecate to the Romans, but believe it or not, Aradia is also all planned. Dum dum dum. No. Believe it or not, Aradia, the name Aradia, actually has ties to Lilith. Dum dum dum. Whenever things have that connection like that, just like, oh, and by the way, this name so happens to connect over here. Definitely not planned. And also, she also has a stone named after Dianite. And I think that's how, yeah, that stone got discovered and then it was named after her in her honor. Get out of the way. I've been live for almost 2 hours. Holy snapple. It's almost 11 o'clock. Wow. Well, I'm probably going to take my leave here. I'm exhausted. But anyway, this is going to be like part of a new playlist, really, on how to like develop certain abilities, qualities, or like anything regarding like your magical practice. Like for example, this being like the intuitive and all that. I might be like thinking like how to actually develop a certain mindset to actually be able to be open to other practices, viewpoints, and other philosophical beliefs to actually be able to take it in, weed out, and take what will work for you, what won't work for you, and actually put into practice. But I mean, that's just another example of potentials in the playlist. But anyway, I'm going to take my leave here. I'm exhausted and I'm about to, get dried mouth. So I'll see you guys on the next stream, which will be probably tomorrow, like earliest in the morning or even like right at noon or afternoon my time, which is Arizona, the most rebellious time zone out of them all. But anyway, I'll just see you guys on the next stream.